Hello and welcome back to the session on the CIS controls. In this lesson we will continue on to Control 6, Access Control Management, and the 8 safeguards within this control. Control 6 focuses on managing access permissions to enterprise assets and data. It emphasizes ensuring that only authorized users, processes, and devices have access to information and systems based on the principles of least privilege and need to know. This control includes safeguards related to assigning user roles and permissions appropriately, reviewing and adjusting access over time, managing third-party access, controlling access to sensitive systems and data. Why is it important? Improperly managed access can lead to unauthorized use, data breaches, or privilege abuse. By implementing strong access control measures, organizations can reduce the risk of internal and external threats, ensure compliance with regulatory requirements, limit the impact of compromised accounts or devices, protect confidentiality, integrity, and availability of critical assets. Let's start learning about each of the safeguards within Control 6. Safeguard 6.1, establish an access granting process. This comes under the Govern Security function and is within Implementation Group 1. The safeguard emphasizes the importance of implementing a formalized and consistent process for granting user access to organizational systems, applications, and data. The goal is to ensure that access is only provided based on verified need and appropriate approval. Key elements include the following. Access is granted based on job role or function, in other words, the principle of least privilege. A documented request and approval process must be in place. Access rights are reviewed to ensure they align with the user's responsibilities, and the process includes verification steps to prevent unauthorized access. Why is this safeguard important? Without a structured access granting process, organizations risk over-provisioning users, which increases the attack surface and likelihood of insider threats or accidental data exposure. The safeguard ensures that access is intentional, auditable, and secure, reducing the chance of data breaches and helping meet compliance requirements. Possible tools to help include an access control policy, which outlines how user access is requested, approved, reviewed, and revoked. The link provided is from CIS Security and is an example access control policy. Other possible tools include 1. Identity and Access Management or IAM systems, examples such as Microsoft Entra ID, Okta, or Ping Identity. Purpose is to automate user provisioning and deprovisioning, manage role-based access control or RBAC, and enforce approval workflows. 2. Access request workflow tools such as ServiceNow, Jira Service Management, or SailPoint provide structured, trackable access request and approval processes. They can integrate with IAM for automatic provisioning post-approval. Privileged Access Management or PAM solutions such as CyberArk, BeyondTrust, or Delinea control and audit access to sensitive or administrative systems, ensuring only authorized users gain elevated privileges. 4. HR system integrations such as Workday, Bamboo HR, SAP, SuccessFactors automate access changes based on employee status or role changes, for example, onboarding, transfers, offboarding. Safeguard 6.2, establish an access revoking process, comes under the Govern Security function and is within Implementation Group 1. The safeguard focuses on creating a formal, repeatable process for revoking user access when it is no longer needed, such as when an employee leaves the organization, changes roles, or access rights expire. The goal is to limit unnecessary or outdated access to systems, applications, and data. Key elements include ensuring access is revoked promptly when users change roles, leave the organization, or no longer need access, integrate revocation with HR and IT workflows to automate offboarding, maintain audit logs of access revocation for accountability and compliance, and periodically test the process to ensure effectiveness and timeliness. Why does this safeguard matter? Failing to revoke access in a timely manner creates security risks, including unauthorized data access, insider threats, and compliance violations. The safeguard helps maintain the principle of least privilege, reduces your attack surface, and protects sensitive organizational assets. Possible tools to help include an access control policy, which outlines how user access is requested, approved, reviewed, and revoked. example link from CIS Security for an access control policy. Other tools include 1. Identity and access management systems such as Microsoft Entra ID, Okta, OneLogin, Ping Identity. These systems help automate deprovisioning when users leave or change roles. Support policies to enforce automatic access expiration. Integrate with HR systems for role or employment status changes. 2. HR system integration. Examples include Workday, Bamboo HR, or SAP SuccessFactors. Helps trigger automated access revocation upon termination or transfer, and keep IAM tools in sync with employee lifecycle events. 3. Privileged Access Management, or PAM. Solutions such as CyberArk, BeyondTrust, Delinea can immediately revoke privileged access, enforce just-in-time access to minimize standing privileges, and log and audit high-risk access revocation events. 4. Access governance tools. Examples include SailPoint, Savient, IBM Security Verify. These help enforce regular access reviews and certifications, automate revocation of outdated or orphaned accounts, and support policy-based controls for continuous access monitoring. Some other tools that can help include ITSM tools and endpoint management tools. Safeguard 6.3 require MFA for externally exposed applications. Comes under the Protect Security function and is within Implementation Group 1. The safeguard requires organizations to implement multi-factor authentication, or MFA, for all users accessing externally facing applications such as web portals or cloud services. MFA adds an additional layer of security by requiring users to provide 2 or more verification factors to gain access. Typically something they know, like a password, and something they have, like a mobile device or hardware token. Key elements include 1. Applies to applications accessible from the internet, for example Office 365, VPNs, Salesforce. 2. MFA should be enforced for all user types, including employees, vendors, and contractors. 3. Common MFA methods include SMS codes, authentication apps, hardware keys, or biometric verification. Why does a safeguard matter? Passwords alone are no longer sufficient protection. They can be guessed, reused, or stolen through phishing or brute force attacks. By requiring MFA for externally exposed apps, organizations greatly reduce the risk of unauthorized access, account takeovers, and data breaches. MFA is a high-impact, low-cost control that significantly boosts security, especially for remote or cloud-based access. Possible tools to help include identity providers such as Microsoft Entra ID, Okta, Google Identity, Ping Identity. These centralized login and enforce MFA across cloud and on-premise applications. MFA authenticators such as Duo Security, Authy, Google or Microsoft Authenticator, YubiKey. These add second factor via push, code, or hardware token. Cloud platform built-in MFA such as AWS IAM, Microsoft 365, Google Cloud, Salesforce can protect cloud admin and user access with native MFA. Privileged Access Management, or PAM, solutions such as CyberArk, BeyondTrust, Delinea help secure high privilege external access with strong MFA and session controls. Safeguard 6.4 require MFA for remote network access. Comes under the Protect Security function and is within Implementation Group 1. The safeguard requires organizations to implement MFA for all remote access to internal networks. This includes methods like VPN, Remote Desktop Services, or RDS, or Virtual Desktop Infrastructure, or VDI. MFA requires users to verify their identity using 2 or more factors, typically something they know, such as a password, and something they have, such as an authenticator app or hardware token. Why is this important? Remote access creates a direct path into an organization's internal network, making it a prime target for attackers. Passwords alone can be stolen or guessed, leaving systems vulnerable. By requiring MFA, organizations can 1. Reduce the risk of unauthorized access due to compromised credentials. 2. Protect remote employees and contractors. 3. Strengthen security for remote work and hybrid environments. 4. Meet compliance requirements for regulations like HIPAA or PCI DSS. 5. Enhance resilience against phishing and brute force attacks. Possible tools to help include VPNs with MFA support such as Cisco AnyConnect and Duo, Fortinet 40 Client, Palo Alto Global Protect. These enforce MFA before users connect to the network remotely. Remote desktop gateways, such as Remote Desktop Gateway plus Azure MFA. Citrix Remote PC, these secure RDP sessions with MFA before access. Identity providers, or IDPs, such as Entra ID, Okta, Ping Identity, provide centralized MFA for remote apps and network logins. MFA authenticators, such as those from Duo Security, Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, YubiKey, help deliver second-factor authentication via app, code, or token. Zero Trust and remote access platforms such as Zscaler, TwinGate, Cloudflare, Zero Trust help enforce identity-based MFA for application network access without traditional VPN. And privileged access tools such as CyberArk, BeyondTrust, Delinea help secure high-privileged remote sessions with robust MFA. Safeguard 6.5 require MFA for administrative access, comes under the Protect Security function and is within Implementation Group 1. The safeguard requires organizations to implement MFA for any administrative access to systems, networks, and applications. Administrative access refers to the privileges granted to users who manage or configure system settings, perform system maintenance, or access sensitive data. MFA adds an additional layer of security by requiring users to provide 2 or more factors to authenticate their identity, such as a password and a one-time passcode, authentication app, or biometric data. Why is this important? Administrative accounts are often high-value targets for attackers because they can provide access to critical systems and sensitive data. Relying solely on passwords for administrative access increases the risk of account compromise. By requiring MFA, organizations can significantly reduce the chances of unauthorized access due to stolen credentials, phishing attacks, or brute force attacks. Key benefits of implementing MFA for administrative access include 1. Enhanced security for privileged accounts. 2. Reduced risk of insider threats and data breaches. 3. Compliance with industry regulations, for example PCI DSS or HIPAA. 4. Protection of sensitive systems and critical infrastructure from external attacks. Possible tools to help include identity providers such as Entra ID, Okta, Ping Identity, to enforce MFA for admin logins across systems, networks, and applications. MFA authenticators from Duo Security, Google Authenticator, YubiKey, Microsoft Authenticator help provide second-factor authentication using mobile apps, hardware tokens, or biometrics. PAM tools such as CyberArk, BeyondTrust, Delinea help secure privileged access with MFA login and session monitoring. Remote desktop solutions such as Microsoft Remote Desktop Gateway plus Azure MFA, Citrix, VNC enforce MFA for remote admin access to systems via RDP or VDI. VPN solutions with MFA such as Cisco AnyConnect plus Duo, Fortinet 40 Client, Palo Alto Global Protect help ensure MFA is required before allowing administrative access via VPN. Safeguard 6.6 establish and maintain an inventory of authentication and authorization systems, comes under the Identify Security function and is within Implementation Group 2. Organizations must identify, document, and regularly update an inventory of all systems used for authentication, which is verifying the identity, and authorization, which is granting access. This includes technologies like identity providers, or IDPs, MFA systems, single sign-on, or SSO, directory services, and privileged access management, or PAM tools. Why is this important? Authentication and authorization systems are critical to controlling who has access to systems and what they can do. Without an accurate inventory, security teams may overlook outdated, misconfigured, or redundant systems. It's harder to detect gaps, manage risk, and enforce consistent security policies. Compliance reporting becomes incomplete or inaccurate. Untracked systems could become targets for attackers. Possible tools to help include Asset Inventory or CMDB tools, such as those from ServiceNow, CMDB, Landsweeper, Freshservice, SolarWinds. These track and organize all authentication or authorization systems in your environment. Identity and access management, such as Entra ID, Okta, Ping Identity, ForgeRock, help centralize and document identity systems used for authentication and access control. Directory services such as Active Directory or AD, LDAP, these are core identity platforms that should be inventoried and monitored. PAM tools such as CyberArk, BeyondTrust, or Delinea, these track and manage privileged authentication systems. Safeguard 6.7, Centralized Access Control, comes under the Protect Security function and is within Implementation Group 2. This safeguard calls for organizations to centralize the management of user access to systems, applications, and data. By using a single platform or integrated set of tools, security teams can consistently enforce policies, monitor access, and quickly make changes when needed. This includes access provisioning, deprovisioning, role assignments, and authentication methods. Why is this important? 1. Reduces complexity caused by managing access across multiple disconnected systems. 2. Ensures consistent application of security policies and the principle of least privilege. 3. Improves visibility into who has access to what and why. 4. Enables faster response to access risks such as when users change roles or leave the organization. 5. Supports compliance reporting and audit readiness. Centralized access control is a key enabler of zero trust, efficient identity governance, and secure remote work. Possible tools to help include IAM, such as Entra ID, Okta, Ping Identity, ForgeRock. These perform centralized control over user authentication, SSO, and access policies. PAM solutions such as CyberArk, BeyondTrust, and Delinea provide centralized control and auditing of privileged or admin account access. Identity governance and administration, or IGA, tools such as SailPoint, Saviynt, IBM Security Verify help manage access lifecycle, roles, and compliance at scale. SSO platforms such as Okta, OneLogin, Google Identity, JumpCloud provide central access to multiple apps with unified login and policy enforcement. And directory services such as Active Directory or LDAP provide core infrastructure for managing identities and group-based access. Safeguard 6.8, Define and maintain role-based access control, comes under the Govern Security function and is within Implementation Group 3. The safeguard requires organizations to implement and maintain role-based access control, or RBAC, which is a structured method of assigning access to users based on their job roles rather than individual permissions. Each role is defined with a specific set of permissions aligned with job responsibilities, and users are granted access based on their assigned roles. Why is this important? 1. Simplifies access management by standardizing permissions across similar job functions. 2. Supports the principle of least privilege, reducing the risk of excessive or unauthorized access. 3. Helps reduce insider threats and accidental data exposure. 4. Makes onboarding and offboarding faster and more secure. 5. Eases compliance reporting and access reviews by mapping users to clearly defined roles. RBAC also improves operational efficiency by reducing manual access provisioning and minimizing the complexity of managing user rights across systems. Possible tools to help include RBAC policy. This defines how access permissions are assigned to roles rather than individuals and the governance around it. There's a link provided to a site that has a sample RBAC policy that you can use. IAM tools such as Entra ID, Okta, Ping Identity help define and enforce roles across applications and systems. IGA tools such as SailPoint, Saviynt, IBM Security Verify help manage role definitions, approvals, access reviews, and compliance reporting. Directory services such as Active Directory or LDAP. These use group policies to implement role-based access within internal systems. PAM tools such as CyberArk, BeyondTrust, Delinea help apply role-based policies for admin or privileged account access. Cloud IAM platforms such as AWS IAM, Google Cloud IAM, Azure RBAC help assign roles and permissions to users or services in cloud environments. In this lesson, you have learnt these 8 safeguards included in CIS Control 6, Access Control Management. the implementation group of each safeguard, and possible tools to use within each safeguard. In the next lesson, I'll take you into Control 7, Continuous Vulnerability Management, including the recommended safeguards in this control, the implementation group of the safeguards, and some recommendations on tools you may use to help in implementing these safeguards. I look forward to you joining me in the next lesson as we continue discovering the CIS controls. Thank you.